So you may be wondering, is America going to exist? And I'm an American and I love America. But the truth of the matter is that everything that has happened, I'm going to take you through a mystical perspective. The world was created, the Hebrew word for gracious is beis rachis. Two primary reasons why the world exists. Only two. One is for the Jewish people. The other is for the Torah, which is God's instructions for humanity how to live together under God in peace and harmony and unity with morality, dignity, and proper sexual relations. In other words, humanity was not a random occurrence. Nobody can take over. Nobody can, whenever you have people, there's only two possibilities. One is that you have law and order, which is what what God wants from us. Or you have dictatorship, which means that one guy fights his way to the top using fear and intimidation, and he, using fear and intimidation, becomes the sole dictator. So, from the beginning of time, we went through these stages. In the very beginning, we saw the world was filled with violence. God didn't like it. He created a flood. By the way, almost all ancient cultures have the same story. And then one man comes along, Abraham. He says, no, God wants us to be good. He wants us to be kind. He wants us to be just. And God chooses him. Then eventually he takes his children. He gives them the Bible, which is all the laws of kindness, justice, a legal system. And then the world basically grapples because there are kings. Now, having a king doesn't necessarily mean that the country is unjust. The king could be a just king. He can have a court system. In fact, England had kings till recently, and they had a Magna Carta in 1290. They had a justice system. But if you don't have a justice system, then what do you have? You have a tribal system. In a tribal system, one person, through power, brute force, becomes the chief. And so, of course, these people don't like the police, because the police are the ones that are keeping them from violently raping and stealing. When the police were gone because of Hurricane Katrina, there were black murderers. They were just randomly shooting people. They were shooting at helicopters that came to save them because it was taking away their power. So basically, it's quite simple. Either people understand that there has to be law and order because of these kinds of people, or the idiots say, no, the police are bad. Of course, why are they saying this? Because these people want them to say these people only want power. See, a person that's raised with love wants love more than power. I forget the guy's name, Tom Silva, I think he's a very brilliant black commentator. He said the major uptake in black violence happened when the black family fell apart. For some reason, I don't know why, maybe in the 1960s, 70s, that black women just started having children. The stats are crazy. Like 90% are born out of wedlock. They don't have a father. In fact, I spoke to a former black senator, and he was hired by the state to go around and to meet with these kids. He told me if you save 5 out of 10,000, that's a success. And he said, you want to know what the situation is? Knock on the door. See who opens the door. Is it a father? Is it a mother? Or is it the grandmother? So these kids are growing up with no education. I mean, no role models. That's how we learn. We learn from role models. And then these people who want the power come along and say, okay, well, just follow us. We'll give you the power. So, of course, they're going to go, it's not a big deal. I have a friend, he's a gang leader. He's a black guy. He said, these guys, they offer the kids money, and they're juveniles, so they can't really be arrested. Of course they're going to take it. What are you going to tell them? Go to university? They don't even know what you're talking about. And so the bottom line is that the Mashiach is about to come, and he's going to basically settle all the scores. He's going to make us see the correct way of life, which is a way of loving one another. And yes, you have to have law and order precisely because of these anarchists. And the bottom line is that right now you have to make a choice, which is to choose not to fall like the stupid Germans for another anarchist Hitler. He took all the power for himself and he went around murdering people. So you have to choose to follow God, the way of love, the way of truth, the way of justice. There are 7 laws that every human being has. One of them is not to worship idols. There's only one power, God, in heaven and earth. He runs everything. The other is not to curse God. Sometimes we don't understand. We have to be humble. The third is don't commit adultery. God wants marriages, men and women, children. That's how you have a world. I don't want to go too deep, but basically, these anarchists, they're not going to be around in, 50, 100 years. They're not having the children to replace themselves. They just won't exist. God wants, don't steal. We have to respect property rights. No, I don't want anyone to steal from me. I may not steal from you. Don't murder. That's obvious. And don't commit adultery. Again, that's going to break up the family. God wants a pure family. And don't eat from a living animal. Like they take these lobsters and they cook them while they're alive. That's disgusting. You know, you have to have compassion on an animal. Okay, you can eat it, but kill it first. Don't just eat it. Well, it's disgusting. And then you have number 7, which is have a justice system. And in fact, I think it may be a blessing that this crazy anarchy, even during COVID, which is ridiculous upon ridiculous, is showing how insane these people are. And so if you, for some reason, have been brainwashed, it's time to wake up. You want to be woke to reality that either you're going to live in peace and in love, and that takes safety. You can't have peace and love without safety. Or you're going to be the servant of some master, some, black gang leader who will rule through fear and intimidation and rape and that stuff. So those are your 2 options. Which one do you choose?